You've been through things no one saw. Attacks that came out of nowhere. Losses you couldn't explain. Moments where everything collapsed and still, somehow, you survived. You should have folded. You should have lost your mind. You should have become cold, bitter, or just numb. But you didn't. And do you want to know why? Because even the demons sent to destroy you were under orders to deliver you into purpose. Let that sink in. The enemy never had full control. Every storm you faced, every betrayal, delay, heartbreak, spiritual attack wasn't just permitted, it was weaponized for your breakthrough. What was meant to crush you, shaped you. What was sent to sabotage you, trained you. What came to haunt you, ended up helping you. You don't realize it yet, but you've been walking through a divine paradox, one only the chosen understand. Demons don't just oppose destiny, they unintentionally escort it. They see your calling before you do. They smell the oil, they recognize the spiritual mark of someone who's not just a believer, but a threat. You confuse them, because no matter how much resistance they apply, you don't fold, and worse. Every time they push, you evolve. They try to isolate you, but that's where you find intimacy with God. They try to break your heart, but that's where you learn spiritual authority. They try to steal your finances, your health, your clarity, but that's where your discernment sharpens. You were supposed to die in that pit, but like Joseph, you rose. Why? Because some things look like setbacks, but in the kingdom, they're set up codes. And here's what they don't tell you: when you are chosen, even your enemies accidentally prophesy over you. When they mock you, they name your elevation. When they curse you, they activate new protection. When they block you, they reroute you to where God already intended you to go. You can't lose. Even hell's worst efforts are absorbed by heaven's plan. That's how covered. You are not weak. You are not cursed. You are not abandoned. You are a weapon formed by warfare. That's why you feel pressure even when you're doing nothing. That's why people come at you sideways for no reason. That's why you've always been targeted by strange resistance. It's not personal, it's prophetic. You are marked, and everything that comes near you, dark or light, becomes a servant to the divine script of your life. Because God wastes nothing. Every delay has purpose. Every betrayal is a detour toward greater discernment. Every false friend trains you in loyalty and spirit. Every loss is followed by an upgrade. You couldn't imagine. You don't need revenge. You need revelation. Because when you see what's really happening behind the scenes, you stop panicking and start praising. Even when it hurts. Even when it's unfair. Even when you don't understand. Yet, because here's the secret, the very forces that were sent to crush your destiny are being used to accelerate it. The fear you've been fighting, it's not yours, it's the enemy's. Because he knows what's coming. He knows your voice is about to break generational chains. He knows your healing is going to wake up others. He knows your story will ignite revival, so he panics. He presses harder, but what he doesn't know is this: God already wrote the ending, and he doesn't lose his own. So let them come. Let the pressure rise. Let the shadows gather. It only proves one thing: you're closer than you think. You're not under attack because you're weak. You're under attack because you're loaded. Your anointing is heavier than you realize. Your presence disturbs what's dormant in others. Your light triggers every dark spirit in the room. And instead of stopping you, they're revealing you, so the next time someone tries to curse you, betray you, block you, or mock you, Smile, because all they've done is push you deeper into destiny. Every jab, a stepping stone. Every insult, a prophecy. Every weapon, a testimony in the making. You are walking proof that no enemy can cancel what heaven has confirmed. And that's the hidden reason why even demons are forced to help. Fulfill your destiny. They don't want to, they don't mean to, but they have no choice. Because when God chooses someone, all creation aligns. Even hell unwillingly cooperates. You're not cursed, you're covered, and everything is about to make sense. You ever wonder why your loneliness felt so engineered? Why the silence in your life wasn't just empty, but heavy, almost supernatural, like something was trying to choke your voice in the dark, not with noise, but with stillness. Like the entire world had turned away at the same time, and no one even noticed. That wasn't random. That wasn't life being hard. That was warfare, invisible, ancient, and personal. Because when you're chosen, hell knows your schedule. It knows when you're close to clarity. It knows when you're near your breakthrough. It knows when you're finally starting to wake up to who you really are. And so it sends distractions, discouragement, or destruction. Not to kill you, but to delay your awakening. Because once you realize that your pain wasn't punishment, but preparation, you become unstoppable. See, the attacks weren't just cruelty. They were blueprints. They were mapping the exact dimensions of your authority. Every hit was a hint at what you were born to conquer. You were betrayed because you carried the spirit of loyalty. You were mocked because your words hold weight. You were silenced because your voice carries freedom. The enemy wanted you to internalize those attacks, to believe you were unlovable, invisible, replaceable. But those lies only work on the unawakened, and you, chosen one, are waking up because something in you always knew, didn't it? That you were different, that things hit you harder, that you could feel storms coming before they arrived, that your spirit was always under pressure, even in quiet seasons. That wasn't weakness, it was spiritual sensitivity, the kind that hell fears, because the moment a chosen one stops running from the pain and faces it, everything changes. That ache in your chest becomes a compass. That silence becomes a training ground. That rejection becomes a refiner's fire. And the very demons that tried to cripple you, they accidentally created the conditions for your greatest elevation. Look back. What did the heartbreak teach you? What did the silence force you to hear? What did the loneliness make you confront? They tried to make you question your worth, but they activated your wisdom. They tried to make you afraid, but you became discernment in motion. They tried to make you settle, but now your standards are so high, even your old self wouldn't recognize you. The things that were sent to drown you ended up teaching you how to breathe underwater. You are not weak. You are weathered, storm-tested, spirit-hardened, and forged in a fire. They'll never understand. That's why people look at you with confusion. Why you've been misunderstood for most of your life. Why even those closest to you don't get your depth. Because you weren't shaped in the visible world. You were molded in the unseen. And that process, that brutal, beautiful, lonely stretch of soul-tearing, mind-warping seasons, was intentional. God allowed it. He didn't cause the harm, but he used it because certain anointings only activate under pressure. Certain gifts only emerge in the pit. Certain callings only awaken when everything else falls apart. You, chosen one, weren't called to live like everyone else. You were called to carry something eternal, That's why everything in your life has felt so targeted, because you were born with blueprints the enemy recognized. Blueprints of healing, blueprints of healing, blueprints of restoration, blueprints of divine disruption. So the attacks weren't punishment, they were previews. Every time the darkness pressed in, it showed its cards, and now that you're starting to see it for what it is, you're not afraid anymore. You've started asking different questions. Not, why is this happening to me? But what is this trying to awaken in me? Not why did they leave me? But who am I becoming now that they're gone? Not what did I lose, but what was I being freed from? That's spiritual maturity. That's what demons can't stand, because a chosen one in pain is dangerous. But a chosen one who understands pain is unbreakable. And now that you're seeing the patterns, the emotional warfare, the timing of setbacks, the spiritual fog that used to confuse you, you've become the thing they feared most. Aware. And awareness is authority. It's the beginning of ownership, of intentionality, of walking in the fullness of your gift. Because now you can spot the cycles. Now you can feel the shift. Now you don't just survive the storm. You interpret it, and when you can interpret warfare, you can flip it. You can reclaim every inch that fear stole from you. You can turn every attack into a spiritual upgrade. And guess what? That means the enemy can't use the same tricks anymore. Because now you know who you are. Not a victim, not forgotten, not crazy, not weak. You're chosen, and the moment you start walking like it, speaking like it, praying like it, the very spirits that attacked you are forced to retreat. And even worse, they are forced to help. Because your growth rewrites the battlefield. Your forgiveness becomes their defeat. Your healing becomes their humiliation. Your clarity becomes their collapse. You don't even need revenge. Your resilience is enough. You've been walking through fire, wondering if you're cursed. But what if I told you, you were actually being crowned? Not with gold, but with authority. See, most people want light, but they avoid darkness. You were dragged into the darkness, thrown into it, left in it. And it wasn't fair, it wasn't kind. It nearly killed your spirit. But here's what demons don't want you to know. The deeper the valley, the higher the throne. You were not being destroyed. You were being positioned. Think about the pressure you've been under. Think about how everything you loved was either taken or turned against you. Think about the way your heart had to bleed in silence. Not once, but over and over. That wasn't random pain, it was training. Because what lives inside you, that light, that force, it's not just spiritual, it's royalty. You were chosen to carry something so dangerous to darkness that hell had to interfere early, had to cut you down before you could stand, had to infect your bloodline with trauma so you'd inherit brokenness. Not legacy, but they miscalculated something. They forgot that a chosen one doesn't stay down. You don't just survive. You transform. You alchemize pain into prophecy, rejection into revelation, isolation into intimacy with something far greater than man. And you start to realize they didn't break you, they built your throne. Because all those moments where you were left alone, they taught you to hear God more clearly. All those times you were lied on, they made your truth sharper than ever. All the spiritual attacks that made you question your identity, they clarified it. And here's the truth: the enemy doesn't attack anything that isn't threatening. So, if your whole life has felt like a battlefield, then congratulations, you're carrying a weapon disguised as a soul. But now you're starting to remember, not with your mind, but with your spirit. You're remembering what was buried in you, what was whispered into your bones before birth, what no demon, no betrayal, no heartbreak could erase. You are marked to see things others miss, marked to endure what would kill most people, marked to walk alone so that when you lead from wisdom, not ego. They tried to make you doubt yourself, but all they did was create the conditions for your awakening. And now that you're waking up, everything around you is shifting. Old friendships feel hollow, old habits feel toxic, old dreams feel too small because your spirit is expanding, and the world they tried to keep you in no longer fits. You're stepping into something bigger, something heavier, something eternal, and yes, it costs you everything. Your comfort, your certainty, your illusions about who you thought you needed. But in return, you're given clarity, the kind of clarity that sees through masks, that hears manipulation in silence, that knows when something is spiritually dead, even if it looks alive. You're not paranoid, you're prophetic, and demons hate that, because chosen ones are not loud in the traditional sense. We don't walk around with signs saying, "Look at me." We walk with presence, the kind that unsettles the fake, the kind that exposes deception without a word, the kind that carries so much weight. Even rooms full of people start to shift when you enter, not because you're arrogant, but because your frequency breaks falsehood. They feel it, that divine authority, that stillness you earned in the storm. It's not pride, it's peace, and peace is power. Because once you've survived hell, you don't flinch when it tries again, you just watch it crumble. That's where you are. Now, not broken, but entrenode. The throne doesn't come with applause, it comes with responsibility. It comes with continued attacks, but this time you're deep, not shaken, because now you see it all clearly. You understand why you had to be crushed, because oil only flows when the olive is pressed diamonds, only form under pressure, and kings and queens only emerge when the fire burns away everything that isn't real. That's what's happening to you. The fire didn't come to kill you, it came to reveal you. And now that it has, demons don't just flee, they serve. They can't help it, because your authority bends the atmosphere. Your decisions shift timelines. Your healing sends ripples through generations. You are not just surviving this life, you are rewriting the rules of it, and even darkness has to bow to that. So yes, you've lost people. Yes, you've cried alone. Yes, you've wrestled with suicidal thoughts, self-doubt, confusion, and the unbearable ache of carrying something no one understands. But let me say this clearly, the throne you now sit on was forged in that agony, and the ones who mocked you, they'll witness the rise they swore would never happen. The ones who tried to bind you, they'll serve the kingdom you're about to build. Because the more they tried to break you, the higher they lifted you. And now you walk, not just with scars, but with a sealed dot, an authority stamped by heaven and feared by hell. So the next time you feel another attack creeping in, smile, because it's not just war, it's confirmation. You're not in danger, you're in dominion. And the demons that tried to kill you, they're now forced to watch you rise. You've noticed it, the way rooms get quiet when you enter, the way people stare but quickly look away, the way they either admire you too quickly or resent you without cause. That's not in your head. That's the energy of your realm disturbing theirs. See, you weren't just chosen to be different. You were chosen to carry something that makes demons anxious and makes insecure people defensive. Because it's not just your presence, It's your frequency. You carry a realm that doesn't belong to this world. It's ancient, sacred, buried in silence, but it pulses out of you in every step, every breath, every choice you make, and people can feel it, even when they don't understand it. That's why some people turned on you, for no reason, why old friends grew cold, why people started accusing you of things you never said or did. They weren't reacting to your words, they were reacting to your wavelength. Because when you walk into a space, you're not walking in alone. You walk in with divine codes, unseen authority, a kingdom that radiates from your spirit like light through stained glass, and that disrupts false systems. Demons don't panic because you pray, they panic because you remember who you are. And when a chosen one remembers, they become unstoppable. That memory doesn't come from books. It comes from fire, from loss, from being emptied out until there was nothing left but the truth. And here's that truth. You carry a spiritual realm that commands order in chaos. You don't beg for peace. Your presence enforces it. You don't ask for love. You embody it, even when your heart's been shattered. And that's where the discomfort begins. Because people aren't used to authenticity. They're used to performance, masks, filters, agendas. But you show up with raw clarity. No mask, just essence. That's threatening. Not because you're aggressive, but because you reveal everything. They're hiding without even trying. Your silence speaks. Your presence convicts. Your light shows them. They're shadows, and most aren't ready to face them. So what do? They project, they gossip, they mock, they leave. And all the while, you're left wondering what you did wrong. The answer: you existed. You showed up carrying a realm of divine identity, and it short-circuited their illusion. Chosen ones aren't always rejected for what they do. They're rejected for what they carry, and what you carry. It's not small, it's not human, it's not normal. It's something heaven planted in you before your first breath, and it's beginning to bloom, whether you feel ready or not. The strange dreams, the intuitive warnings, the unexplainable knowing, the prophetic insight that shows up uninvited. These aren't accidents, they're activati. Your spiritual realm is expanding. Your inner world is rearranging itself to match your eternal blueprint. And with every level you rise, more gets exposed. More old versions of you die. More fake friends fall away. More confusion gets burned off because your realm demands purity. Not perfection, but alignment. You can no longer pretend to enjoy what you've outgrown. You can't shrink to fit into rooms you were sent to transform. You can't stay silent when your very voice is coded with deliverance. That's the weight of carrying a realm. It's why you've been lonely. It's why you've been misunderstood. It's why you've cried after seemingly normal conversations. Because your soul could sense the spiritual tension no one else could feel. Your spirit is decades ahead of your circumstances. Your calling echoes in dimensions others are still blind to. So when you feel like a misfit, you're not crazy, you're chosen. And chosen ones walk in realms people can't recognize until you manifest it into the visible. That's why hell wants to discourage you before you even step fully into your calling. Because when you do, the atmosphere changes. People wake up. Chains break. Not because you're trying to be a savior, but because the frequency of your presence carries truth. And truth, real truth, isn't just information, it's transformation. The kind that makes demons restless. The kind that shakes up fake religious systems. The kind that pulls people out of dead relationships, toxic thought patterns, and inherited fear. And you carry that kind of truth. That's why they've been watching you, mocking you, trying to pull you back into old patterns, because your elevation exposes their stagnation. But this is your confirmation. You're not behind, you're ahead. And the opposition isn't punishment, it's proof. You are the proof that heaven still plants warriors in the middle of enemy territory, that God still hides kings and queens in valleys until the appointed time. That authority doesn't come from popularity, but from pain endured with purpose. So no, they're not comfortable around you, and they never will be, because you don't just talk different. You carry a realm where words heal instead of harm splints, speaks louder than noise light reveals, and restores them once you know this. You stop apologizing for it. You stop asking why people act strange. You stop wondering why you never fit in, because now you realize you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to invade, to carry your realm into dry places, to speak into spiritual deserts, to walk with power that isn't loud, but undeniable. And from now on, you don't dim your light to comfort the blind. You don't lower your voice so others can remain asleep. You don't clip your wings to make people feel better about never taking flight. You walk as you are, with kingdom in your lungs, legacy in your bones, and realms of light stretching behind every step. Let them be restless. Your realm is waking them up. You've been walking silently, but the realm you carry has been speaking for you, and now even the forces of hell are being forced to listen. They don't want to, but they must, because your authority wasn't given by man. It was sealed by fire, forged in rejection, unlocked through pain. You didn't ask for this mantle, but heaven chose you anyway. And when heaven stamps something with its mark, hell has no legal right to resist it. Let that settle in for a second. Hell doesn't bow because you're loud. Hell bows because you're legitimate. When demons look at you, they don't just see a body, they see a throne, they see kingdom, technology, encoded light, words that come from the eternal places. They recognize the rank of your spirit, even when you're still doubting yourself. That's why the attacks intensified just when you started believing again. That's why people started turning cold the moment you stepped into your truth. That's why distractions hit the moment you opened your Bible or dared to pray out loud. Because the moment you stand in your divine identity, hell's operations in that territory become illegal. Let me say it again. The moment you accept who you are, hell loses jurisdiction, and that's what's been happening, piece by piece. You've been rising, quietly, painfully, but powerfully. Even when you were crying on the bathroom floor, something in you refused to break. Even when they betrayed you, something sacred in your spirit stayed intact. That was authority being tested and proven. See, spiritual authority isn't just about what you say. It's about what you survive, what you carry after the storm, what you become after you've lost everything. And you, chosen one, have become a weapon heaven can use, a vessel clean enough to carry the mysteries, a warrior humble enough to stand in power without pride, a voice bold enough to say what others stay silent about. And now, even demons are starting to whisper your name in fear, because you're not running anymore. You're remembering who you were before the trauma, before the world told you to be quiet, before religion told you to be small, before life tried to convince you that your voice didn't matter. But your voice does matter, because it was crafted in eternity, breathed out of the mind of God, and released into the timeline for such a time as this. You weren't just born, you were sent. That's why the enemy came so early for your mind, why it tried to plant shame in your childhood, why it orchestrated betrayals, losses, and false guilt, all before you even knew what was going on. Because the enemy saw it. First, the oil, the light, the blueprint on your life. It wasn't jealousy from people, it was jealousy from hell, because you carry something the enemy can't. Copy. He can imitate, he can distract, he can seduce, but he can't replicate what you carry, because yours came from divine intimacy, not talent, not titles, not fame, just pure surrender and surrendered ones. They terrify darkness because a surrendered one can't be manipulated by fear, can't be seduced by applause, can't be broken by betrayal. A surrendered one only asks one thing: God, use me, even if it costs everything. And that's the frequency you've stepped into. That's why demons are confused, because everything they threw at you should have worked. You should have quit. You should have doubted. You should have turned bitter, but you didn't. You kept praying when you had no words. You kept showing love, even when your heart was tired. You kept believing even when it looked like nothing was changing. That kind of faith, that's not soft. That's dangerous, because now you're walking into rooms with authority demons can't ignore. The same spirits that used to attack you in your sleep now flee when you open your mouth. The same darkness that tried to choke you in depression now trembles when you whisper the name of Jesus. You've become a walking contradiction to hell's agenda. You don't match your past. You don't mirror your pain. You don't fit into the system, because you weren't built for this world. You were built to change it. You weren't sent here to survive. You were sent here to reclaim territory. That territory may look like a family line, a generation trapped in trauma, a community bound by silence, a legacy shackled by addiction. But wherever it is, your presence carries the power to interrupt it. You don't just walk through rooms, you shift realms, because the one inside you isn't weak, he isn't intimidated, and is not waiting. The Spirit of God inside you has already begun to rise. And with every step you take in obedience, strongholds crack. With every word you speak in alignment, altars fall. With every boundary you set in courage, bloodlines are cleansed. You don't have to scream to be powerful. You just have to stand, because your stance carries more spiritual weight than most people's performance. And now, hell knows it. They tried to bury you, but they didn't know you were a seed. And now that you've broken through the dirt, you'll never go back to pretending you're not chosen. Never again will you shrink your light to fit in. Never again will you doubt the whispers from God. Never again will you second-guess the power in your own voice. You are not who they said you were. You are a warrior, a gatekeeper, a realm walker, a child of fire, and even hell must bow when that kind of soul finally stands tall. They've watched you from the sidelines, some in awe, some in silence, many in jealousy, and even more in confusion, because no one, not even the spirits sent to monitor your downfall, can understand how you're still standing. But here's the truth: you were never standing on your own. There was a hand under you that never let go, a force inside you that refused to let the pain rewrite your purpose, and a throne above you that never forgot your name. You didn't stumble into this moment by accident, no. You were carried, protected, concealed until the appointed time. And now, that time has come. This is the hour when chosen ones stop apologizing for the fire in their bones, when they stop mourning what they lost and start reigning with what they became. This is the time when you return to the seat that was always yours, because the throne, it wasn't made of gold. It was built from your suffering, your lonely nights, your prayers whispered through tears, You're unshakable. Yes, when nobody clapped for you. And now that throne, your divine position, is being revealed. You see, destiny doesn't scream. It moves quietly through tests, waiting for the moment you're ready. And now you're ready. You've been through the pit. You've survived the betrayal. You've buried versions of yourself you never thought you'd outgrow. And you didn't just survive it. You came out with keys that demons recognize. Keys that open bloodline blessings. Keys that break generational curses. Keys that unlock spiritual dimensions others only dream about. You don't need to prove who you are. The scars already do that. Every wound turned into wisdom. Every rejection turned into redirection. Every loss turned into legacy. And now, heaven is calling you to take your seat. Not in arrogance, not in fear, but in divine. Authority doesn't need applause. It doesn't wait for validation. It moves because it knows who it belongs to, and you, chosen one, belong to a kingdom that is not of this world. Let them stare, let them gossip, let them try to figure you out. They don't need to understand, because you were never sent to be understood. You were sent to shift things. You were sent to interrupt bloodline patterns. To awaken sleeping warriors, to walk into rooms and change the temperature without saying a word. You were sent with an anointing that breaks atmospheres. And yes, it made you lonely. Yes, it cost you relationships. Yes, it's felt unfair, even cruel at times. But heaven doesn't waste pain. What hurt you also built you. The loneliness taught you how to hear God clearly. The betrayal taught you discernment. The rejection taught you that presence matters more than popularity. The isolation taught you how to stand alone and still stand in power. And now, the realm of the Spirit is testifying. You're not the same anymore. You're no longer the version of yourself that begged for belonging. You no longer shrink in the presence of spiritual warfare. You no longer cry when people misunderstand your calling. Because now you understand. They were never supposed to see it. It was never for them, it was for you. And for those who would come after you. For the generations tied to your voice. For the ones watching from the shadows, hoping you won't give up, so they know they don't have to either. You are someone's proof that survival is possible, that obedience still works, that miracles still happen for the misunderstood. You are heaven's loudest whisper in the ears of the broken. And that's why you've been under such pressure. Because anything that carries weight must first be tempered. You weren't just being attacked. You were being tested, and you passed. Not because you were perfect, but because you were willing. Willing to grow when it hurt. Willing to stay silent when you could have clapped back. Willing to trust God even when He was quiet. Willing to stand even when your legs shook. That's what separates the chosen from the crowd. Not gifts, not titles, not followers, but posture. Your posture said yes, when everything inside you wanted to scream no, and heaven heard it. Hell did too. That's why demons couldn't destroy you, why betrayal couldn't bury you, why loneliness couldn't mute you, because your yes had weight, your obedience had fire, and your calling had a divine seal. That seal cannot be stolen. It cannot be counterfeited. It cannot be ignored. It announces you. Without a word, it shifts atmospheres just by showing up. It causes those operating in counterfeit power to panic, because your authenticity exposes them. So don't fear the resistance. It's not a sign you're off course. It's confirmation that you're exactly where heaven needs you to be. Even now, as you hear these words, something in you is stirring. That's not emotion, that's memory. You're not being told something new. You're being reminded of something eternal. You've always known you were different. You've always felt there was something more, and now the veil is lifting. You are not just a survivor of your story. You are the carrier of a mantle of light, of fire, of revelation, of authority. And whether they love you or hate you, they will recognize you, because when heaven places its hand on a person, no one can erase the fingerprints. So rise, chosen one. Take your place. Speak your truth. Walk boldly. Pray with fire. Love without fear. And know this, you are not crazy. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are on schedule. You are in position. You are being unveiled. The throne was always yours. Now it's time to sit in it. If this message stirred something deep in your soul, if it felt like someone finally put words to the war you've been fighting in silence, then you already know you are meant to hear this. Because chosen ones don't find these messages by accident. They're summoned to them. So now it's your turn to walk in that calling with boldness. Subscribe if you're ready to stop shrinking and start rising. Like this video if you've survived attacks nobody clapped for. Comment I receive it if you're stepping into your throne without apology, fear, or delay. You're not alone. You are never forgotten, and your name is still being spoken in rooms you haven't entered. Yet this is your season. Don't question it. Don't delay it. Walk like you were chosen because you were.